afternoon. Welcome back to Arco. Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here on a blisteringly hot day. We had much more mild, I have to say more civilised temperatures in Arco for much of the preceding few days. But whoever is in charge of the thermostat has turned it up very high once again. It is very, very hot today. Slightly better in the shade. Conditions not too bad on the wall. And as you can see from the entrance curtains, there's a little bit of a breeze, but as I say, it is a hot day here in Arco, and we've got two semi-finals to bring you today in the bouldering Youth B female and male juniors. Youth B, the youngest climbers participating in Arco, climbers born in 2004 and 2005, and juniors, the oldest climbers competing, climbers born in 2000 and 2001. And we are watching Irina Daziano of Italy, the first climber out, and she will be followed by her compatriot Alessia Maboni, who turned what would have been a pretty disastrous qualifying day for Team Italy into a pretty reasonable one. They're the only two Italians climbing in the semi-final, and they will come out first and second, having qualified 19th and 20th. And here's Michael O'Neill of Ireland on men's junior 1. So the juniors are over on the left of the wall. As we look at it, you can see immediately to the right of Michael is number 2. And the Youth B female are over on the left, and it's a mirrored wall here in Arco, so the panels absolutely identical, just swapped through 180 degrees on each side of the wall. So both climbers starting out with a slab. Mike, welcome. You look like you've been cooler.
Certainly have. Just walked through the arena to go and have a look at the boulders. Like I said, Charlie, male junior boulders working their way from left to right into the centre of the wall, and the female Youth B boulders working their way right to left into the centre of the wall. Junior boulder number 1 here starts with sort of tricky little step across up into a whole pile of screw-ons. I just saw one of the head route setters here, Jackie Godolph, the French route setting legend, just tinkering with this boulder just before this semi-final started. And I have to say, yeah, pretty funky looking tour on both sides of the wall. The wall here, yeah, it's pretty packed really in terms of boulders, and yeah, not the highest wall in the world, but it looks like it's going to do a great job. And the talk of the arena here is it's a good facility, and it's nice to get on this additional wall here at Arco. There is another wall that they are using just for the qualifiers, but the semi-finals and finals will be on this new temporary wall here in the arena. It just shows the amount of space they've got here in Arco. Just popped up another wall with a big sort of tent around it. It's a really nice looking bit of kit as well, and yeah, really looking forward to this semi-final round despite the heat.
Yes, it's as I mentioned, it really has kicked up a lot. We've got bouldering semi-finals for you now, and then this evening we've got 3 speed finals, one after the other. A lot of action to come, and then tomorrow, wow, tomorrow's a busy day. We've got Youth B men semi-finals in the bouldering, Youth B women bouldering finals, Youth B men finals, and Junior men finals. So 1 semi-final and 3 boulder finals for you tomorrow. So a lot of action coming up. Then there's a day off, at least for us broadcasters, not for the climbers, and then 2 more days of action on Friday and Saturday as well. So a lot to come here in Arco. Already had the league competition, Italy celebrating in a big way there with Laura Rigora taking the title in the juniors, and looking for another big result here. But as I say, didn't have the best of the day in the qualifiers. You got 2 climbers snuck through in 19th and 20th.
On both the right and far left side of the walls here, the route setters have put on sort of a balancy, techie number it looks like it could initially be a bit of a run across the wall, but it's actually a bit more of a balancy boulder, as we're seeing here from Michael O'Neill. There's his zone hold. It's the top of that big bricolage, I think they call them in France. Nice bricolage of screw-ons, big collection of different bits and bobs that are all blocking one another and a little bit tricky to read. Irina Daziano just struggling to find this balance point at all on the first boulder. She'll take her next rotation and take a rest before moving on to boulder number 2.
Yeah, Christoph Schweiger of Germany will be the next climber out of male juniors, and then Alessia Maboni of Italy, who we just saw appearing through the door next to try her luck here.
Alessia Maboni just initially I was having a look at putting her left foot out first there, but goes back to what would seemingly be the correct method. Two undercut thumb catches that are both absolutely awful there on the UFB boulder. And it looks like the Richardsons are certainly not dropping the level at all here, despite the heat. They're keeping it really hard all the way through.
Got to be careful not to use that sign. There we go. Mike, earlier on you mentioned Jackie Godoff. I don't really know where to start with Jackie Godoff. Dare we mention his age? He must be... I'm not sure of the specific number, but he's certainly midway between 60 and 70.
Yeah, it's at least double, if not triple, the age of a lot of the junior route setters we see on the scene nowadays. But what a legend of the game! He's
still strong, still climbing well.
Yeah, and no lacking enthusiasm for the route setting game. He's just an absolutely phenomenal human being.
Yeah, enormous passion for what he does, Jackie. And we seem to seem to find him at the Youth World Championships. Seems to have a real ability to set for these younger climbers. His creative mind seems to work well for them.
Yeah, I was just asking him the other day, it's nice, must be nice to be back in Arco where we've had so much history in the past, and said, the usual from Jackie, yeah, it's nice, yeah.
Must be one of the most fun people to speak to in the world. Possibly an illegal start there.
Yeah, just not quite getting the starting position. It's a bit odd, that starter to the male juniors category, actually. Just 2 feet quite far left and 2 hands really far left. Christoph Schweger and Alessia Maboni both struggling also on the first boulders. First climbs out, Michael O'Neill and Irina Ziano also struggled. So, yeah, tricky little start here. Both climbers just struggling with the balance positions across the front of the boulder, right at the bottom.
Semi-final operating just like a World Cup or World Championship semi-final. 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off for the climbers. And as yet, we haven't had much in the way of progress on either boulder. Often the way though early on in the semi-final, and suddenly the tops, or certainly the zones, and then potentially the tops start to come thick and fast.
You're just trying to get the grips of this balancy move at the start. Looks like you've got to really push up off that left hand, palm down, get something out of these 2 undercut thumb catches, and then pop across as there's a little left yellow crimp in the middle of the wall there before moving a bit more dynamically to the zone. I have to say, before this round started, it was the most people I've ever seen on a bouldering wall. Mats adjustments being made right up to the very last second.
Yeah, I don't know where the route setters got all their manpower from. Suddenly there was an army of them.
Yeah, there was an army of judges, officials, route setters, dudes with cameras. It was all pretty full on the bats here, but so far so good. It looks like they've set a nice looking tour of boulders. Aesthetically, they're kind of what you would expect for this level of World Championships.
It's that Richardson of Canada. And Lucia Miranda Cida of Spain just got underway. Irina Daciano comes back out. Michael O'Neill is back out.
Yeah, first look at the women's B2 route. Potential for a little triple catch here. Right hand to the zone, left hand blue, right hand down to yellow. Let's see how Irina gets on with this one. First look at women's female youth B boulders then. And Lucia on to first boulder, looking for that step through method. We've seen a couple of people try that now, but nobody successfully through to the zone.
Be good to have a look at these second boulders as well. I mentioned it earlier on, the wall is mirrored here, so for example in a qualification group you can put the same boulders for both groups, you just mirror them, so what would be a left hand hold is a right hand hold on the other side. That's a good start from Zach Richardson.
Yeah, that's good considering how bad that set of holds is in there. It's just really awkward to know which bit to grab. So, yeah, he went quite dynamically to that and actually managed to get something out of it. Now he's controlling the zone hold with his left hand, pushing up the groove now. This is looking really good here for Zach. Perfect start, just comes up short. Really super crimpy.
Nice work from Michael O'Neill as well, firing out right. First appearance in a Youth World Championship semi-final.
Yeah, really awkward upper section now. Gets the pair of big black volumes in the middle of the wall. And this is something you'll see quite a lot in this round, is route setters putting a number of different footholds on, just to try and help accommodate for the different sizes of athletes. There's something coming up in the female Youth B boulders as well. And nicely done here for Irina. Does it with a toe catch at the bottom of the wall, right hand to the zone, left toe under the starting hole. It's a classic move.
Zach Richardson trying again on number one.
Michael O'Neill having a bit of a wave at the top hole there, just couldn't quite seem to find the right position for that last move. Lucia just trying to go a little bit more dynamically to that undercut yellow hole, but it's really bad on the underside.
Irina Daciano could be looking good here. Got a good hand on the top, but couldn't convert it. I've just heard the MC mentioning Michael O'Neill from Ireland. Got the zone, isn't flashing up as the top just yet.
Lucia sticking with that right foot step through method and the left hand down. Quite a tricky one to read, this one. Remember that the bowlers haven't been observed before. This is the first time they've seen them as they come out.
Yeah, it's not like a final where you get observation, you get 5 minutes, and that includes figuring the boulder out.
Michael O'Neill here is getting through this jump move really easily every single time now, but he's just struggling to find a body position for the last move. It really does look like it's from the zone hold onwards, that boulder. Let's have a look at this women's number two, this little left toe catch. Oh, it's a nice move. Toe catch release into a double. Good route setting here.
She's been up close a couple of times and not managed to bring it home. Goes with the right hand again. Can't quite hang on to it. Zach Richardson, if he doesn't find a top here, will be so frustrated. He got really close earlier on. Michael O'Neill again will be frustrated. He's been close on that move a couple of times, had the jump, no problem. Couldn't find a top. Lena Schrittweiser now of Austria, there she is, closest to the camera. And alias Ariagada Kruger.
See a couple of fans have been brought out onto the mats there to help protect the athletes from the heat a little bit. Battery powered fans. As though they will do something. It's mostly just blowing hot air around here, unfortunately. There's not much cool air to be had.
Yeah, that's the problem. Unless you can clamp an air conditioning unit to the top of the boulders, it is hot in Arco.
Christoph Schweiger gets the jump done easily. Then looks like he's going to try and go off the left foot. Really awkward, that top move. It's going to be interesting to see what methods really develop there. Where it's going to be left heel, right heel. Alessia Maboni gets the little double done as well.
Second Italian climber on this second boulder. And the second Italian climber to nearly find the top. Can she go one step better than her compatriot? Actually convert that top hand into a top.
Looks like a super awkward position. She can't quite decide, as we saw from the previous athlete arena, which hand to go to the top with. Unfortunately, the left hand is not going to get any better than it was the previous time she had a look at it, but just tries to get a bit of chalk on. Just to see what she can get out of this left hand. Just trying to find the sweet spot. You can see her just moving all around the hold. Really just got a flick for this top hold now.
Lena Schrittwieser now of Austria trying again on the slab. I think Christoph Schweiger, just judging by the reaction of the crowd and the MC, might just have found a top on number 2.
That is not an athlete cheating on the ladder there. It's actually just one of the route setting team just moving in. Can't quite see from this position, unfortunately, exactly what they're doing up there. Just looks like they're popping a couple of extra screws in. Like I said, it was pretty much chaos just before this final round started. So,
well, it was, yeah, as I say, it suddenly just an army of helpers seemed to appear. That's the scene here in Arco. This is a very stoic section of the crowd over on the left. You can see most people gathered in the shade over on the right.
They're brave souls.
Yeah, they are brave souls. They certainly don't come from England like us, that's for sure.
It's definitely the biggest contingent I've seen of athletes was actually down by the river just before this round started. Everyone just getting their dose of cold water. Route set still just in and out a little bit.
I'm actually trying to calculate whether we might have time to sort of sprint, jump in and get back, to be honest. It's that hot.
I reckon if we get a couple of, maybe like 8 flashes within the first 30 seconds of a rotation, I reckon.
Yeah, if we could have a rotation where everyone just got on the top within about 15 seconds.
I reckon we could just.
You guys at home just cut Mike and I a little bit of slack. I reckon we could probably make it to the river and back.
That might be the difference between managing to get through this broadcast without dying of heat stroke.
Spoken like a true Londoner. Here's Lena.
Oh, what a top.
Nice work, yeah.
Superb top.
Didn't have long left either.
Stuck with that low method that she was trying and just pounced, double tap for the top of the hole. There's a whole pile of little intermediates underneath that top hole. She didn't need them, just absolutely launched for that top hole. Superb effort.
Gala Perez-Patana, the next climber out, as well as Lucas Frankaert of Belgium. A few climbers I'm looking forward to seeing over on this male juniors side. Sam Avazu will be out in not too long, and then Nikolai Uznik, Shooter Tanaka, Max Milne. It's a strong lineup. As I say, youth B climbers over on the right in the female side. slightly less familiar to IFSC viewers because they are so much younger, born in 2004 and 2005, but a lot of the juniors who'll be appearing as this semi-final unravels will be familiar, I'm sure.
Looks like Zach's got the right methodology now, that big rollover with the right hand. As we see Irina trying to get established on female boulder number 3. It's the first look we've had at that.
Looks a bit of a tenuous position. Got to keep yourself hugged in. You can see how much force she's putting through that right hand underneath it. Oh, nice, clever top for her. Not sure she could have relaxed and had a gelato there. Didn't look the most comfortable position, but she was able to hang on to it long enough.
Zach Richardson just trying something a little bit different this time, trying to go up on the left side of that volume. Oh, that could work as well. Two methods that look very possible there for Zach. Jump to that top hold and kick the left foot out. That should be the method that we're going to see on this boulder.
Zach Richardson, excuse me, just levering his way up, finds a top on number 2, went with real conviction that time. Still got Michael O'Neill over on the right hand side of your screen. Lucas closest to the camera. Wants to be careful as Lucas goes for the top. Wants to be careful doesn't boot the root setter. Yeah, the brusher, I should say.
Yeah, the root's here actually. Like I said, this is a bit of a packed facility really. The climbers coming quite close to each other. Root setters have been really careful. Not that easy when you're trying to put in sort of dynamic moves and kind of a bit of circus in there as well. Certain boulders using up a lot of space, certain greedy boulders, and certain that stayed really tight into the wall.
So it's Spain and Spain right now, women's 1 and 2. That's Michael O'Neill. Not lacking in their power department. Here he goes lining up. The big pop went direct.
Michael O'Neill now getting really established on number 3, but is hear the beeps in the background. Unfortunately, that is the end of that rotation. See more people just coming into the arena here. Alexandra Totkova joins us in for women's number 1.
Yeah, and the first of 3 French climbers. Leo Favou gets underway on men's 1.
just a replay of the top on men's number 2. Super fast top there. See Alessia Maboni just trying to get on board this volume as well. Super awkward top on female number 3. Got to really mount up.
You've got to really squeeze with the legs. Does it nicely.
That's a classic Jackie Gaddafi boulder, that one. Christoph Schweiger, interesting method through on this men's number 3. Not happy with those tops donuts. So Christoph looks super strong in the arms there, but just doesn't quite find the right position. Did kind of break the sequence there. Root sets won't be too pleased about that.
You see Alexandra Totkova, we just caught a glimpse of her on female number 1. She's one of the stars of the lead show earlier in the week.
Just trying everything she can to stretch from that right foot starting position all the way through to the left hand. Undercut crimp. Leo Favreau just trying to get established up on the undercut from the zone hold, super crimpy.
Skips out the zone. Obviously didn't get any zone signs brought here to Arco. You can see it says bonus.
That's a rarity these days.
I'd get fired for saying that.
Don't see many of those around here. Those were the good old days, the bonus hold.
Don't say that, Mike.
That's taken a few years to undo that ingraining in the memory of the word bonus. Here we are with zones anyway, but maybe that's just Jackie having a bit of a laugh. Oh, there you can see another one. It looks like they've peppered the wall with bonus tags.
No, it's the whole wall's on bonus.
Someone didn't get the memo.
No, someone at the IFSC is now shouting at their television, that's for sure.
Lena got the jump done that time, and Leo now gets established using a heel hook on the a volume on the boulder next door. That'll do. There's no black tape, so he's used it. It'll be pretty interesting if we see a climber on topping number 1 whilst someone gets towards the top of men's number 2.
Yeah, it really could get pretty tight up there.
Look how strong he is on that left-hand mantle. Looks like he's been to the Jan Hoyer School of Bouldering, skipping out holds. Doesn't look happy with those top holds at all. Alexandra really pinned at the bottom of this boulder now, just trying to go full stretch, rolling over to the right hand side pull.
Amelia Warensky of Austria, the next climber out, and Sam Avazu, there he is, on the left.
Sam Avazu, one of the really sort of exciting climbers.
Yeah, combined champion from Innsbruck Youth World Championships.
Another climber kind of along the same line as Brooke Rabatou, very strong, comes from very strong stock, should we say?
Yes.
Cecil Avazu, his mother, an absolute warrior on the boulders as well. Lucas Frankhart just tries his efforts on men's number 2 on this awkward little mantle move at the top. This boulder has now been topped. He's quite see how close these two boulders have got coming. The root sets are really so little space to deal with, but they have managed to get in those 8 boulders, importantly. Sam just comes up short on that top hold. Shaking the fingers off. It was a lot crimpier than he potentially would have liked just coming out onto the first boulder.
Michael O'Neill down on the mats, just looking up at men's 4. The last boulder for him, he was the first climber out.
There's another full-on battle going on. Female number 3 is this now familiar position, just trying to push that mantle out and sit on that volume. Emilia Warensky just struggling with this start. The now familiar Youth B number 1.
I think that could be a familiar sight, actually. Climbers dropping off that female Youth B1.
Zach Richardson's just having a really good tour here at the moment. That awkward mantle there, you've got your right toe out on a pretty decent foothold outright, but it's just super awkward to know where on earth to put your arms and your feet after mantling on men's number 3. You've got those really bad rings. Sam Abazu's now, surely his fingers are warmed up, stretches up with his left-handed undercut. You really just got to paste your feet up the groove. Drills the right toe into probably like a little screw hole or something that's a little bit hard to tell from this angle, but you can see the black smears of rubber as he comes down. One of the judges here just walked right in and having a really good look there. Now you can see that patch of rubber that he's just cleaning off. This is Zach. This is that awkward bends number 3 then. Yet to see much action on the top 2 holds here.
We'll be about to see another top on number 2. Yes, we are. That's the 4th top of that boulder. It's Lucas who gets it.
Yeah, that top move, it really looks like you've got to go fast.
Spain side by side. And that's Sam Abazu. A man of many talents. That's time up. Yeah, after the Moscow World Cup, the organisers organised a football match in the arena, because it's basically a big AstroTurf arena in Moscow, and Sam Abazu joined in. Not too bad at football either.
Nice.
Definitely a better climber than a footballer, but you know, he wasn't bad.
Maybe he chose the wrong sport.
No, I'm pretty sure he wasn't that good. And your cooler Matteo Manzoni now.
Yeah, Alexandra tries her luck on the first of the toe catch moves on the women's number 2.
First look at this slab move. Could be about to see another top at number 2. That looks like the method. I think that was Jackie Godoff we saw very briefly there.
Yeah, and there's a bit of tape just hanging off the top of that wall now. The men's number 2, you can see the finishing tape just swinging in the wind a little bit.
Yeah, you'd imagine the route setters will need to correct that. The ideal, I guess, would be that the boulder was topped quite quickly and they can get up there and do it.
Yeah, there's no space in between rotations. This is looking better to go from Alias.
Oh, I could have done without that foot cut loose.
Just leans into that top move. A nice little crossover for the match. That was awesome.
Yeah, first top of that boulder. And you call it on women's 1. Just finding it tricky to get out to the left. Still only been topped once by Lena Schrittwasser of Austria. Took her 8 attempts to get it though. So persistence clearly being rewarded over on that first boulder. And that is a top on number 2 for Leo Favu. Alessia Maboni not quite finding a way on women's 4. So let's have a look at men's 4. We haven't seen much of this boulder.
Yeah, this is one of the boulders that the route setters were really tweaking right up to the end of just moving all the different screw-on options around.
Yeah, no one's even had a zone on it yet. Christoph only the second climber to attempt it, so let's not panic too much just yet. Alexandra Totkova going for it on number 2.
Yeah, she's still trying to get to grips with that up at the right hand, left toe hook method.
Christoph Schweiger trying to lever his way up on junior men's 4.
So I was talking about just a few minutes ago about the multiple options that the route setters have put in place for these youth championships. You see there's 3 footholds, 4 footholds in that volume and 2 on the other one. Just a nice touch from the route setters, just to, just factoring in the fact that these still are young climbers and there's quite a few different options for in terms of heights, athletes coming out. Alexandra now gets a toe hook done, but she has less than a minute left.
Could be about to see a top here on number 4 from Alessia Maboni. Oh, nice use of the toe hook as well, just to steady herself and then rolled over. Top for her. Very early, of course, in this semi-final, so we just have to wait and see where that puts her. As it is, she will finish with 2 tops and 3 zones. It's enough for a very early first place for Alessia Maboni. She's done all she can do.
Just seen one of the athletes walking off with one of the fans there. I thought the organisers had put the fans out, but it looks like Team Germany have bought their own. Either that or it's just gone in for a bit of shoplifting. Tactics. Those sort of tactics make a big difference in conditions like these, and looking forward to just talking about the Olympics, as we can't help but talk about the Olympics these days. Yeah, Olympics is going to be held in August in Japan, and we've just come from there and it's extremely hot, and the venue is going to be outdoors, so under a similar set of facilities as this, really, temporary walls, but with roofs and temporary structures, and yeah, you think heat and temperature are going to be a huge factor over there in Tokyo as well. So every technique under the book is going to be coming out, no doubt.
Yeah, that is actually as well the exact same fan others are available. Adam Undra uses, but he uses it in isolation. I don't think I've ever seen him bring it out onto the boulder mats.
Yeah, I know quite a lot of the UK guys. They like to bring out their fans during the actual boulders themselves as well, trying to keep cool in between attempts, keep the hands cool. Importantly, nothing in the rules saying you can't do that.
Great save there from Lucas, by the way. No reason you can't do it.
I've even seen ice packs on the underside of your chalk bag. Cold chalk. Trying to figure that one out.
Well, some of the paraclimbers in Briançon also had cool vests, which seemed like a very good idea to me.
Japanese construction workers all have these big jackets that have got sort of vents in them and fans blowing constantly. So yeah, word on the street is that some of the athletes might be looking into those as well. Anyway, none of that will really help you here because it's we are amongst the heat.
Yes, Genevieve Dennis. You can see there closer to the camera. One of the climbers struggling with the heat. Not ideal when you're on this kind of slab. Once you start sweating on a boulder and you get a little bit too hot, it's very hard to kind of stem the sweating and get your hands clean again. Could be about to see a top here on number 3. Got to get sitting on that volume. It's a funny finish. That's it. That's a method. Just squeeze that volume.
So Charlie, I was just about to repeat what you were about to say there. Sam Eversley just struggling on men's number 2 a little bit.
Yeah, his almost namesake Samuel Wingard of Sweden on number 1.
Much bigger climbing. See how awkward that starting position is. It's just making you find that balance point on the starting hold. Big lean out to the left, almost like a move in itself, and he's jumping to a set of volumes on boulder number 2. Interesting to see if that develops over the next few minutes remaining on this round.
Amelia Warensky in the background. There is Sam Avazu. Whoa, strong stuff from Amelia. Genevieve Dennis going low on number 1. Needs to be careful not to touch down.
Yeah, she's just trying to use the bolt hole at the moment there. Amelia just comes up short. She also went well in the leading. Now the judge just jumps in and says, yep, you actually touched the mat. Well spotted there, Charlie.
There's Lucas, who had a great save on this boulder earlier on, and now he's got a top. Boulders seem to be pretty well set so far, persistence being rewarded.
Yeah, it's always so hard to know with the youth climbers exactly what the level is going to be, and Sam finds a nice top just as his time's running out.
That is going to be time up. Yes, top for Samuel. First boulder. Only caught him at the top, but I'm pretty sure he was within the time limit. Yes, he was. Gwen Morgan and Nathan Marten of France now. Latest climbers to get their semi-finals underway.
Let's see what Gwen makes of that women's number 1, see if she can get to grips with that really techie little weird lean over move. And your collar just on female number 2. It's a really cool method actually there. It's a good boulder actually, flipping the left hand into an undercut and flipping the left toe. Leo Favreau here has found a whole new way of doing that top section, monoing the bolt holes on all 3 of those top holds.
That is going to be 3 tops for him. That he's the first climber with 3 tops.
Alexandra now just trying to get on board with this mantle. Yeah, that men's number 2 there. He manages to mention number 3 actually. There's just as Alexandra finds his top. Yeah, he put his middle finger as a mono in the bolt holes of those top 2 holds, rather than trying to find the slopers. It'd be interesting to see further climbers try and use that method. Nice top for Nathan Marten. Cruised it really.
Let's have a close look here at Gwen Morgan on number 1.
It just seems so cryptic, this boulder. Got those undercut thumb catches in the middle of the wall that nobody really seems to be getting anything out of.
Yeah, no one's quite figured out how to use them really.
It's only Lena Schrittweiser who found the top on that one. 8 attempts.
Yeah, as I say, it's clearly one of those boulders where if you just keep going, you do stand a chance.
Well, I don't think you barely use any energy pulling to that starting position, so it's just a case of trying to work it out rather than powering out. And your collar now, she has done this move already. Little jump over, goes for the massive sort of windmill over, gaining height before dropping back down off to the right. Gwen just going for the full running jump that time. It is Alessia Maboni still up the top there, currently holding the first position with her 2 tops in 6 attempts and 3 zones in 4 attempts. Local Italian crowd will be particularly happy about that. You can see the fan there that young German has brought out with him.
Really quite envious of that fan personally.
Bit of a clash there between Gwen.
Elias now number 4, looking to make it 3 tops and 4 zones. Leo Favo has the chance to make it 4 tops.
Yeah, no top on men's 4 at the moment. 3 climbers have secured that zone hold though. It's good to see the local organisers just between attempts here, just brushing the chalk off the mats, keeping the conditions as good as possible for these young climbers.
One of our officials just enjoying his apple down the front there.
Yeah.
Got to fuel the machine, it won't run on empty.
Not had many opportunities to actually eat during these in between the rounds. Such a tight schedule here, so much climbing over the last few days. Samuel goes for a big top at number 2. What a powerful young man. Smashes to the top of that. Really cool move on top of the junior round men's number 2. Super nice top for him. Two tops already for Samuel. First one took him 9 attempts, but that was a flash of men's number 2.
Did you know, with the very distinctive tape on the right there, Genevieve Dennis having a look at the top of number 2.
Yeah, she just went for that top move without using the intermediate left hand. Just wondering if she can sort of pounce it to the top.
It feels like that's something we see a little bit more in the youth climbing competitions, hold being skipped out. I wonder if it's perhaps due to the difficulty the route setters have in replicating the height of the climbers, possibly greater discrepancy between the taller and smaller climbers.
Yeah, I would say it would be fair to argue that the route setters do put the holds reasonably a bit closer and think about the height much more than they do so on the senior round. And sometimes, you know, if an athlete comes out who's really big for their size compared to the rest of the athletes, there's a high chance they might be able to skip a few holds. But the route setters do try and put on the universal challenge, is what we call it in the route setting game. Just trying to set a universal challenge for all the different heights and sizes and ages, which is really not easy. Genevieve now gets the jump done, and what attempt will she try for this top hold now? She just tried to go from there straight to the top before. So she's trying something completely different, just left foot really high. Obviously not getting along with that left hand side put at all. Trying everything she can just to skip it. It's been hanging there for quite some time now. Just needs to go for it. Move's not going to get any easier the longer you stay there, unfortunately.
Sam Havasu having a look at the top section of number 3. Top both of the first 2 boulders, so he put himself in a very strong position if he could find a top.
Genevieve did try a really decent attempt at the top there, just using that left hand. And Sam now could do with this, really.
It would make a big difference to Sam if he could find that one.
Yeah, 2 tops for him already, a third would be nice. Leo Favreau from France, his compatriot, is already up there with 3 tops.
Yeah, and could make it 4. Nikolai Micharov here of Russia.
Not getting on with that balance point at all. Super frustrating. Men's number 1 boulder has been topped. 3 climbers already though.
So women's 2 and men's 4, the only boulders we haven't yet seen topped. Solo Les Rondelles of France over on the right. And this is Julien Clemens of Switzerland. Gwen Morgan's back out on number 2 and reads the toe hook perfectly.
Just got that little left hand there that she can use. There it is, just to help release that toe. Brilliant bit of route setting there. Perfect little toe catch release move, but got to release into a really good triple jump. That's the modern boulder in a nutshell there. Women's number 2.
Could have all sorts of action here. Julien Clemens, no joy for him. Here goes Leo Favreau. Looking to make it 4 from 4. No one's managed that yet. In fact, no one else has got more than 2, and he's already got 3 in the bag. Anya Kohler of Switzerland there, right in the middle. Gwen Morgan over to the right.
And you're just trying to do this top move off purely off a heel hook. We've seen the tops of this one really clamping the thighs around that volume. Doesn't quite find the right position. It's completely upside down volume there, so it's clear that you've got to take all the weight on your legs to be able to release the hands. Top hold isn't really a hold. Haven't really had much of a look at women's 4 just yet, as Alexandra from Bulgaria just makes her attempts on that.
Oh, and that's the top from Nathan. Julien Clemens just clarifying something with the officials.
Yeah, I think he was just asking if he can use those other volumes from boulder number 2 actually, which he is entitled to do. There's no black tape, but the judges might try and convince him not to.
Yeah, we'd really rather you didn't.
Try and tell a competitor that. Do you mind if I just use these volumes over here? Well, so famous judging would say, "Oh, you're only cheating yourself." I'm not sure if that counts when it comes to a World Championships.
No.
There he goes. There he is using the right-hand volume on men's number 2.
I'm really surprised they haven't put any red tape, black tape there.
Yeah, if someone's going for that top move, which they could fully do, you know, you'd have a real problem on our hands. It'd be handbags at the top hold there. Who gets to stand on the volume first?
Trying to stand on the volume, so most people just squeeze it and sit on it. It might be a lot harder actually having your foot underneath and just sitting on the volume. You can see struggling to release the left hand. This looks a little more comfortable.
Yeah, she's really using, I think it must be a screw hole in that volume for her right hand, just to try and get the body position. Left foot still smearing on that volume, still doesn't being able to seemingly get the weight on it. And in that position there, if she can just think outside the box a little bit and just think about how she can really sit on that volume.
Brusher looking on disapprovingly.
Yeah, get off my hold.
Disapproval won't get you anywhere.
I'm sure the officials aren't too impressed with that one, unfortunately.
No. I suspect you're right.
The thing is, once the round started, there's nothing you can do about it unless you cancel the boulder completely.
Yeah, I mean, remember the officials do look at the boulders beforehand. If they're really that concerned, they could have said to the route setters, put some black tape there.
Yeah, I think it was such a scrum down at the wall. It was just, you know, it's absolute chaos to tell who was a route setter, who was up there with a GoPro in somebody's face, and who was kind of, you know, just trying to get the job done, or a job. Gwen Morgan now just tapping left, having another look, 2 looks, 3 looks, now trying to try something different. Tries to go for the heel hook. Really big finishing move here on women's number 2. Gwen just has a quick check of the clock. Gwen's still not happy with that top move, as she was out of time. You can see the shadow of the mountain here in Arco, such as the height of the cliffs around us, slowly creeping its way towards the bouldering wall.
And it is wonderful as the sun comes across the venue after the heat we've had today.
Sota Amagasa, first of the Japanese athletes out in the men's field, joins us for men's number 1 then. Just trying to creep across this section of 3 identical volumes, actually 4 identical volumes in boulder, 3 at the bottom, 1 at the top. Let's see what he makes of this selection of zone holds.
Well, there could be a dust-up as well as they fight over that arrowhead volume.
Samuel Wingard going really well here. Already got 2 tops. He's on the 3rd boulder. This is where we saw somebody using the bolt hole. He does exactly the same. Not sure the coaches have been looking on, wincing slightly as it just puts so much force through that one finger. It's like half a pad mono in the bolt holes. Looks like he's going to go for the bolt holes again. That one's on the ring finger. That's quite hard to watch, to be honest. But Samuel Wingard looking for his 3rd top now. Jumps into the top. Luckily gets it done on that attempt. I wouldn't want to see him using those bolt holes on a further go. Root Setters again will be slightly annoyed there that they haven't blocked the bolt holes.
I wonder if on number 1 and 2 for the women, is that actually just a bit of kidology from the Root Setters that arrowhead volume is to be used for number 1? And they play. I mean, because apart from the fact it's yellow, you'd imagine if it was blue, or red, you'd assume it was part of Boulder 1. Have they left it up there intentionally to create confusion? It seems a strange thing to do. It doesn't seem any more strange than not black taping it.
Well, Jackie Godoff is the Root Setter before. If the fans with good memories out there remember, he set a mirrored boulder as part of one boulder. So you got up to about halfway, then you could choose whether you went left or right. And so Jackie does like to pose a few questions. Yeah, there is a fair bit of chat going down amongst the officials there, because the officials, maybe they're kicking themselves a little bit. They didn't spot that before, and the Root Setters obviously will be as well. But safety is their number 1 criteria here. So they're either just going to try and stagger the boulder somehow, so climbers aren't climbing on that boulder at the same time, or they'll probably cancel one of the boulders. That would be drastic, but let's see where we end up. They are entitled to cancel a boulder in the round.
Sam Avazu casting a slightly frustrated figure there. Campbell Serenopoulos of the United States, the 13th climber to begin her semi-final on number 1.
I saw the Jap facilities over there in Innsbruck, and really the idea is behind spending so much money on an amazing facility is to kind of try and guarantee yourself a strong future in the game. Interesting method here. Just mounting up there from Sowler. Looks like she was going to go all the way off that hill hook there, but unfortunately those dimensions don't quite add up. Gwen Morgan trying to get on board for her top.
She's got the right method. Yeah, you've got to sit on that volume. That is the way to do it. We saw Anya Kohler up there, who's now was in the foreground, trying to stand on it. That doesn't really work. Got to sit on it. Gwen Morgan figured it out, gets the job done. Angie Garth Johnson pulls on, tries again. Here is Anya Kohler. This looks promising on number 3.
Yeah, Nathan Marten. Let's see what he makes of these top 2 slopey dishes. Will he go in for those bolt holes, or will he try and find a bit more conventional technique? Just proves even at this level, this is the oldest category in the Youth World Championships. You've really got to think outside the box and consider all your options, and using bolt holes, if they're not blocked, definitely get into them. And just got Johnson just trying to figure out what method to step through on this bottom section. Looks like we've got a top on men's number 1. Not many tops on that boulder so far, so that's excellent.
Nikolai Usnik gets it done. So nobody with more than 2 tops over on the women's side. Alessia Maboni, who set her score very early on. She was only the 2nd climber out, 2 tops and 3 zones, still leading the way. If you are just tuning in, Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here, watching the male juniors and female youth B bouldering. Sola Le Rondelle of France, so we just saw she's obviously got the toe hook method, hasn't yet converted it into a lot of progress, and still just the one top on this women's number 1, Lena Schrittwieser of Austria. She got it done 8th go. Tough start for the climbers.
That's a nice top for Julien Clemens. There's that pounce move to the top hard. Left hand, left foot, bringing in the right hand for the match.
Climbers jumping on, you can tell the end of the round is nigh.
Just trying to find something here. Nathan Marten. Really straight right leg. He could be in for a shout here if he can just find something to go again. Right at the end of the rotation. Superb top.
And that will be that. Time up.
That top for Nathan Marten actually brings him up into 3rd position with 3 tops already.
Samuel Wingard down there at the bottom on number 4. He now has a shot at becoming the first climber with 4 tops. If he wants to claim it though, he will have to top Boulder 4, which nobody has yet done. Ryu Nagawa gets underway on the women's side, and in the men's, Shooter Tanaka, already crowned Youth World Champion, in the lead, and here he is in the boulder. This is Ryu over on number 1.
Let's go Hiyo. Hiyo, number 3. Chilean Dennis, number 4. And number 1.
See what method Ryu can find on this women's number 1. Like I say, there's only been 1 top of that boulder so far. Further 5 climbers still to come in the semi-finals. Not started their campaign yet. 4 boulders here, and 4 good boulders it seems. No tops on women's number 4 yet. Men's number 4 also not seen a top. Samuel Wingard, who's already got those 3 tops to his name, he's the, as you see, he comes into the shop there. He's potentially got a really good shout on this number 4, but yet to really kind of being able to analyse much into that men's number 4. Shooter Tanaka then. Outstanding performance already on the lead wall. Made podiums in the IFSC senior competition, just loses his balance at the bottom, getting massively frustrated with this men's number 1. Here you know, gets it done. Female number 3.
Ryu back on number 1. Campbell, just you can see her there on the left on number 2. As Hijuno walks off, job done. 3 extra minutes of rest earned.
See Shooter really just trying to use the screw holes in this angle change here. Seems to be really focused on using them rather than just balancing across that we've seen from a number of the other athletes. Some guys have gone fast into this selection of red scrons, and some have gone a little bit slower. Now he's really dug into a screw, just trying to bring that left foot in to match the right foot, and just as he does, he loses his balance. It's pretty disappointing. Would have thought from Shooter, one of the favourites of this round.
Yeah, we're getting pretty deep into the round now. Climbers now coming out. We're really at the top end of qualifying. So you would expect the tops to come relatively thick and fast. Crowd enjoying themselves, as you can see. Shade across the venue now. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic family vibe here in Arco. It's in many ways, it's a lot more relaxed than you'd expect to see at a Senior World Cup. And lots of families, got kids competing, younger kids have come along as well, enjoying the lake, enjoying the swimming and the ice cream. Good effort there from Campbell, Serenopoulos. See climbers starting to wipe their feet more and more. Actually a huge amount of dust and dirt builds up from the chalk bags on the mats here. Ryu just trying to jump all the way across to the corner now. We go there, no top on this boulder. Samuel from Sweden, see if he can find something to finish this round in style with 4 tops. Really wrapping that left arm, such a strong young man. Just tries to push it into that top headwall with the clock running down, and that ends that rotation.
And we still have not seen 4 tops over on the men's side. Eva Puhar just doing the little foot swap at number 1 as Angie Scarce-Johnson moves over to number 2. Zigazac of also of Slovenia gets underway over on the men's side. So there we go. Funny how often that it feels like that happens. You get the same nationality coming out on men's and women's. Really struggling to explain why on earth that might be.
Nice for those guys. They stand in the doorway waiting to come out there. Can have a little chat. No awkward energy between different people who aren't quite sure which language to speak. Julian Clemens there, just struggling with that sort of weird move at the top of men's number 3 at the moment. Wonder if he'll find those bolt holes as Gwen Morgan struggles quite a bit on women's 4, but that's what we've seen so far in all of the different athletes.
Yeah,
it's this move up into the zone.
Alessia Maboni, the only climber to top that one.
This is looking really solid here from Gwen though, so strong at the moment. Just a struggle to establish into that undercut.
Julien Clemens getting into a now familiar position, but that left foot doesn't seem particularly secure from what we've seen from other climbers.
That's so bad, those slopers. I think when someone tells him that you could actually drill your fingers into the bolt holes, you'd be a little bit frustrated if he doesn't find a top here.
Yeah, still just a 1 top on women's 4, and still waiting for a top on number 4. Nathan Marten, the latest climber to try his luck.
There has been a top on women's number 4.
Yeah, just 1.
Alessia Maboni, she's still up there. There's 2 tops in 6 attempts for her. Gwen Morgan now just trying to match Alicia Maboni's top on this one. Just comes up short on that volume. She was going really well there. Took a bit of a hammering on the side of the leg in the process.
And just Garth Johnson just leaping out of the shop as Sola Le Rondelle on number 3, taking centre stage.
See what she makes of this mount on the volume. Gets the left hand well. It's just really got to get physical with this boulder now. Big scream. Sula's just got to put the body on the line here now. Doesn't find that exhausting there for Sula.
Julien Clemens, the only Swiss man in that junior semi-final. Still trying on number 3, Nikolai Uznik on number 2.
Yeah, we'd have thought Nikolai needs it if he wants to get himself through to the finals. Does hit it this time.
It's a funny boulder that. As soon as when you see it topped, you wonder how they didn't top it the time before. The top move looks fine if you get it right.
Yeah, it becomes a coordination move. It looks like it was just a sort of heel hook rollover move. It really has become a bit of a two-way coordination jump. Jump with the left hand and got to plant the left foot. We're going to keep the body nice and open, straight onto the wall, making sure you don't rotate. Shuta Tanaka starts his campaign on that boulder now.
Hana Koike now of Japan and her compatriot Katsura Konishi getting underway. 4th to last climbers out on the wall. Semi-final rattling by. Shooter full of confidence. So you can see there 3 Japanese climbers all next to each other. Quite a familiar sight at the IFSC. Katsura Konishi, Shuta Tanaka and Sota Amagasa. And Shuta Tanaka, I think quite sensibly, taking a drink with him. 5 minutes can feel a long time if you don't have any water in these temperatures.
I'd say that jump on the top of men's number 2 is actually a really cool move. So you get into a position where you can no longer progress upwards on the mantle of the left volume, at which point you just launch for the top hold, release that left heel hook and stab it down to a toe on that volume. It's a really good bit of route setting there.
Hana Koike and Ryu Nagawa on the left. Nakagawa, excuse me, on the left. Very few tops in this women's competition. Number 2 still hasn't been topped. And number 1 and number 4 have only seen 1 top each. So it would seem in the women's side, if you can get 2 tops, you could be away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking like a fierce round.
Top for Sota Amagasa. Smooth as you like, calm as you like.
Yeah, he almost seemed to find a couple of different holds up there on those black sloping volumes. He didn't use the bolt holes, just hung the slopers themselves, got a really great body position, and just ping for that top hold.
Nikolai Mucherov here on number 4, which has so far repelled all attempts. Yeah, hard round. It's still pretty early days for the route setters though. They've got to try and suss out the level. Got to remember at World Cup level they can ring the other setters who've already set. They can watch the live streams. It's much easier for them to get information about the climbers and figure out what level to pitch things at, and even then it's very difficult to get it right.
I'd love to hear that phone call between the route setters between us. So how hard did you make the boulders? Really hard. But how hard is really hard? Oh, like really hard. Such is the game in climbing. You know, difficulty is only based on how things feel to the individual rather than how some scientific level of how hard something actually is. Nikolai from Russia then just trying to find something on this men's number 4. That undercut section at volume looks so hard. Footholds really not offering much. Dual texture footholds in that round volume. Anna Kwiatkowski still also struggling on women's number 1. Still that only one top on that boulder. That boulder potentially quite a bit harder than the routers who were expecting as Ryu Nakagawa goes right hand to that top hole and just falls off to disappointment on her face. She's been up to that top move a couple of times now as time runs out on that rotation.
Chap there hugging his water bottle.
Water. Not letting that go from anywhere.
Camera crew grafting away. Sarah Koppa and Harold Peters of Belgium now get underway.
See, as the sun's gone, the crowd fills up.
Yeah, the crowd can spread out a little bit more. They don't all need to be sheltered under trees.
Eva Puhard from Slovenia just having a look at this top move, and it's that left hand that's giving all sorts of problems. Look how vertical that left foot is as well.
She's getting in the right part of the world.
It's really hard to know. Well, it's really hard on that last move to slow it down enough to release either the left or the right hand on that top move. It's quite easy to mantle up into that top move, but to actually release a hand to go for it seems really hard.
Angie Scarth-Johnson getting a lot of encouragement from the venue MC. Venue MCs, I should say, today, and she finds a top. Well, I mean, to even get off the mark, to even get a top in this semi-final is quite something, but we have had quite a few tops of that number 3. If you're going to get one, it's probably going to be that, but if you could get 2, you really would be in a good spot. Got to get slightly closer than that than Zigazat managed on number 2. If you want the top, is Nikolai Uznik.
Yeah, Nikolai's really going to want this as well. Down in 8th at the moment.
Yeah, but 2 tops already. A few more minutes to figure this one out.
Yeah, the third boulder is one that's definitely getting top though, so I think he put himself in a really solid position if he can get this one done.
Julien Clemens pulls back on number 4. Going to be about to see a top here of number 2. We are not. It is a brutally hard round for the women. Everybody's got the zone on number 2. Nobody's got the top. So no doubt where the difficult bit of that boulder is.
Yeah, that boulder number 2, the only one in the women's round that hasn't been top, but a couple of other boulders have only seen one top, boulder number 1 and number 4. So like you said, Charlie, a really stern tour here from the route setters in the Youth B women's category.
Well, it seems to be that most people seem to get number 1 and number 3 done, and then nobody gets the other ones done.
Yeah, zones and attempts to zones could be crucial here.
I think if you can find 2 tops on this women's Youth B, you've got no problem. You'll be in the final.
Yeah, just looking at so few climbers still to come out and make their way across the wall. Yeah, only 2 climbers up there with 2 tops at the moment. Third place, Gwen Morgan from Great Britain would be extremely happy with that. Currently with just 1 top in 1 attempt, so 1 flash. Importantly for her, she's got 3 zones, excuse me, in 4 attempts.
Yeah, you've got to get your heel behind you. Nikolai's got it right in front of him. It just pushes you away from the wall. Julien Clemens cannot figure out this volume. No shame in that. No one else has managed to.
Looks like that's a real volume wrestle, that men's number 4.
And that is going to be time up. We await still atop of women's 2.
Max Milne from Great Britain joins us for men's number 1 then. Lots of fans of Max been online just the last few days, just congratulating from his great qualification on this bouldering tour.
Sana Agura, meanwhile, on the women's side. No less than 6 Japanese climbers on the wall out of 8 right now.
That's a lot of work for the coaches to look at. Hope they got enough iPads to get all the footage for that.
It's something of a takeover. Max Milne, Campbell Serenopoulos, the only non-Japanese climbers on the wall right now.
This is Shooter then on men's number 3. Really looking solid on that right-hand sloper.
Well, there's the potential for a pretty unpleasant fall there with that sharp volume right between your legs.
Really just seems some guys can get quite a lot out of those slopes and others really just can't find anything at all. So that really interesting left-hand mantle, right hand up into the slopers. It just seems to be really working there for the Japanese.
Shuta Tanaka seems full of confidence.
Yeah, he's got 2 tops to his name already. Didn't top number 1 though, so it's surprising that he's full of that much confidence. It's looking really good on boulder number 4. No tops for this boulder yet. Just as I say that. Big wrestle under that underside of that undercut volume. I'd say on that women's number 1, the move really hasn't seemed to have worked that well. Sort of roll over, palm down move just hasn't quite worked for the route setters. Nobody really getting to grips with that bottom move at all. Max Milne balances nicely across this bottom slab now. He's got to go up to the collection of screw-ons. I wonder if he'll use the yellow volume out the right. Doesn't, just sticks with the red screw-ons and reaches them easily. Now he's just got to pedal the feet up off this really bad left-hand undercut, smearing the feet on the wall. Push the power through the feet now and just try and lock that left arm. Nicely done from Max Milne.
He doesn't need the yellow arrowhead. Good start for Max. He's on the mode.
Yeah, Max has been going really well, as we just see a top on the second boulder from Katsura Konishi. Yeah, Max has been going really well in the senior level events in Great Britain at the moment, so I reckon he's out for a victory here. Got a lot of stiff competition though. So Shooter Tanaka's looking really good, Katsura's looking really good. Samuel Wingard early on in the round is also looking really good. There's currently 3 tops that gets you inside the top 4 at the moment. 8th place is Nikolai Uznik in the men's competition. 2 tops in 9 attempts, 3 zones in 7 attempts. So keep an eye on the scores as they're coming in. It's going to be a really close one here in both categories. Just the 1 top, a flash in the women's competition. 1 top in 1 attempt, 2 zones in 4 attempts gets you into the final women's. So all the way through this round was just such a low scoring women's event. If you find a quick top, you're going to find yourself in the finals. That's the method that I believe the route setters were looking for, but it just hasn't quite worked. Those thumb undercuts up high and right on that second panel just not quite good enough for these UFB climbers to get anything out of, unfortunately. Oh, big fall there on boulder number 2 as well. Hannah Kaweki. Sota Amagasa then on this men's number 4. No tops on this boulder yet.
Now, we always want to see every boulder topped, of course.
Time's running out. You can hear the beeps in the background. Oh, he's got it.
Yes, and he gets it with seconds to spare as well, just to add to the drama. Finally gets it done.
Where did that come from? Absolutely levitated up those top moves. Maybe just needed a bit of time pressure to get it done. That was extraordinary. All boulders on the men's side now topped. Puts himself straight into the lead with 4 tops in 11 attempts and 4 zones in 4 attempts. Sota Amagasa currently the one to beat. Leo Favreau from France is in second. He can't score any more tops. Neither can Samuel, Nathan or Elias or Lucas. So a few climbers still to come can still beat Sota, score 4 tops in 11 attempts, but that's looking like an extraordinary performance.
Pierre Lecef of France. Next to him, Harold Peters. And next to them, Ziga Zach. And over on number 4, is Nikolai Uznik. It has been topped, but it looks hard. Angie Scarth-Johnson looking to get it done on number 4 on the women's side.
Sarah's just trying something a bit different here. Left heel hook. We have seen quite a few climbers trying that, but with no avail. Look how far away that top hold is.
You can see what she's trying to do. Are we about to see a top here on number 4 for Angie Scarth-Johnson? Yes, we are. That will be 2 tops, 3 zones for her. That'll be her comfortably into a provisional final place.
Third top of that women's number 4. Two tops for her, puts her straight into first position with that top of number 4. Nice top there from Harold Peters as well. Tops coming thick and fast now that the round is coming towards the latter half.
Yeah, we really are getting close now. to figuring out who our finalists will be.
Some absolutely extraordinary battles going on out there. Sarah's just trying something different again. Most climbers really not happy on that female number 2. Biela definitely not happy on men's number 1. Not finding the balance point at all. Orion Burton, what a week she's having so far.
Yeah, she was fantastic in the lead. Won the title there. Very emotional interview we did with her just after she'd won.
I saw her in the town about 2 hours after her win, still beaming. So great to see these young athletes all hanging out with their friends, really enjoying the local scenery and cuisine here, but still just cannot believe that she's won the competition. What an emotional scene that was as well, just waiting for the results to come right at the death. Sarah's still battling away with those optional right heel hooks. Orion actually getting quite close to the zone hold on women's number 1.
Yeah,
But
she's not a million miles off. Could be about to see a top here. No, we're not. Got to get the body position correct on that, whereas Nikolai Uznik gets his round finished. Got a minute or so left.
look at me sort of palm squeezing the underside of that volume. Raging on the mats. Good passion here in the male junior category.
Good route setting as well. Sota Amagasa is leading the way with 4 tops. And then with 3, we've got Leo Favreau, Sam Wingard, and Nathan Marten of France. So the top 4 climbers on the men's side have got 3 tops. So route setters look like they've pitched that one pretty well.
Team Japan plus Max Milne on the mats now then the men's competition. First boulder is now complete.
His shooter on number 4. He can't. Could he do the double? Top would almost certainly see him through to the final.
Orion Burton certainly looking for the double in the women's UFB competition. Katsura looks like he's found another easy top on men's number 3.
Katsuri Kanishi gets it done. Also looking pretty strong, as is so often the case. We're suddenly getting a spate of tops.
Yeah, that's 3 quick tops already for him. Women's number 2, there are no tops on this boulder at all. Route sets would love to see that go down right at the very end, but with only 1 climber still to come on it, it's looking unlikely. Unless Sano Gura or Orion Burton can pull something special out of the bag. This left hand at the top doesn't seem to be just quite good enough to be able to roll for the top hold, which is facing in quite an odd direction. So the route setters will learn from that though. They know what the level is for something that's too hard. A lot of times in these semi-final rounds, the route setters will put one boulder that's the real question mark. They're not quite sure if it's going to be too hard or not, but they do just use that as a bit of a level and say, okay, just remember when we reset these final boulders that, you know, women's number 2 was that touch too hard, and let's base everything off of that.
Yeah, it feels like they've got the level pretty much spot on over on the men's side, but on the women's, possibly a little bit too tough. In fact, certainly a little bit too tough. Every boulder apart from number 2 has been topped. It's interesting as well, when we first saw number 2, it looked like a boulder that would see a bit of traffic. It just hasn't panned out that way at all.
Shooter Tanaka gets it done. That's 3 tops for him and ends his round. Got some laser focus today, Shooter Tanaka. He wants this title.
Yes, he does. As you say, Mike, will be 3 tops. 3 tops, 3 zones, moves him up into 5th place. So right now, you need 3 tops to get into the men's top 6. Everyone with 3 or more is in the top 6. Everyone with 2 or less is not in the top 6. However, we are a couple of climbers away from the end of the rotation, so a few people might end up with 3 tops, and it might not be enough. Sana Agura on number 2. This boulder looks like it should be top. I know that's a ridiculous thing to say. You know what I mean? We've seen a lot of climbers making good progress on it. They just can't quite seem to do that final move.
Yeah, it's just that the top of those 2 blue side pulls. The top one is just awful, basically, and it's just the combination of that as the left hand and left foot being super vertical. You just can't generate any power off that at all to go towards the top. That's why we're seeing these athletes trying all sorts of different things. Heel hooks on the left, heel hooks on the right. It's another big heel hook rock over. She's just trying to rock over enough to get that left hand. Now goes back to the original method, but you can see that top hold just. It's a Gaston if you go up to it with your right hand, and most people are going up to your right hand because it's just windmilling over. Massive drive-by for the top volume, and it's not a jug. It's a slopey dish at best. Now she's run out of power for the little triple catch at the bottom. Starting moves of that boulder are really cool, but the top unfortunately was too hard.
Quarter to 5 here in the afternoon in Arco as Orion Burton, Pierre Lefebvre, Sarah Coper, Harold Peters, Eva Puhar and Ziga Zach get out onto the mats. There is Orion.
Pierre just struggling on first move of number 2 as well. It didn't go so well on number 1, so with currently 2 tops to get you through. Just double check that.
Said with real confidence.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking. That's what I thought it was in my mind, but then I realised I was looking at the wrong category as I double checked the score, so I do apologise. There's a lot of buttons to press to get the results up.
Oh, that's one way of doing it. Or not, as it turned out.
Yeah, spectacular from Pierre Lefebvre if he gets that done in that method. Let's see with the final climber, Orion Burton, what she can do on this last move.
Would be really nice if she could find a way just for us watching on to see how it should be done. Cannot quite get the feet sorted.
Yeah, the holes just do not look good enough up there, unfortunately. She's going for a big brush with that left hand, getting the job done herself. Sarah can make of this one now. Again, struggled on number 2 just before that. She put in some big efforts on that one. So can she go away with a bit of a reward towards the end of this round? Boulder number 3 looks like she's got that positioning figured out. Just clamping the left knee and right knee around that volume. There's a really high foothold in it. Almost causes more confusion than it does reward. There's that nice little toe catch release move on women's number 2. Orion Burton, and if this boulder's going to get done, you would have thought it would be this go or the next. It's the only opportunity. It's the final climber out. 19 climbers before her have been through this section of volumes and really struggled.
Orion Burton, you can't help but wish her well. And I fear that boulder might go untopped. But I would be very happy to be proved wrong. It certainly wouldn't be the first time.
Orion Burton is still on the mats there on women's number 2, so it doesn't look like that boulder's going to get done. But one thing I would say about that boulder is that the level of coordination needed on that first move. These guys were born 2004, 2005, and just thinking of the future of climbing, if they're doing sort of 4 points coordination moves at that age, I think the future is just going to look somewhat crazy, I think. They got jumping to toe hooks whilst flicking left hands upside down all in one move is quite extraordinary.
I've got to say, wouldn't it be great if we could watch the Yanya Garnbretts and Tomoe Narasakis on these boulders and get an insight into what the level is versus climbers we know slightly better and see week in, week out. Orion Burton gets it done. She dominated the lead.
Extraordinary
Can
top.
she dominate the boulder as well?
Talk about the future greats. You just mentioned Yanya Garnbrett. She competed here back in the day and really excelled then. Orion Burton, the only top of women's number 2. Extraordinary flick to the top hold and clamping with her left arm on the underside just to stop the rotation. An absolute master of movement. Orion Burton, so far so good in this championships. Next 4 climbers are already out. That was a really close one there, right on the buzzer. We've seen that from a few climbers now.
Koike on number 4. Oh, another top on men's 4 as well. They're coming thick and fast all of a sudden, and it was a flash for Katsura Kanisha. I just wanted to double check. It was a flash. Max Milne now over on number 3. So still you need 3 tops to get into the men's final.
Max, the future Milne, as he's known by his Instagram handle, is absolutely flying here. 3 quick tops for him. He's definitely the one who's going to be challenging those 2 Japanese athletes, Katsura Konishi and Swato Amagasa.
Shuta Tanaka is not going to do the double. He is out of the final. He's got 3 tops. He is the highest ranked climber with 3 tops who is not in the top 6. Max Milne's score come through. He's ahead of Shuta with a boulder still to go due to number of attempts.
Yeah, we're just saying that it was sort of showboating a little bit, but hadn't done number 1. He did look really strong on the 3 boulders that he did do, but a couple of attempts on the second boulder, 3 attempts on the 4th boulder. Painful stuff for Shuta Tanaka, unfortunately, as Max Milne surpasses him. Hannah Koike now, can she find a top in women's number 4? There's an edge at the top for her left hand. Looks like she's going to use it. Quite a few athletes choosing to ignore that hold and go straight to the top. Now she goes back down after she's adjusted the feet. Hannah Koike looks like she's going to find a pretty steady away top here.
Nice easy top for her. Tops are coming through quickly now.
Yeah, that puts her in joint 2nd place.
That'll be enough. Again, 2 tops gets you into the women's final. The highest ranked climber with 1 top is 7th right now. It's Gwen Morgan. So although it's been a hard round, the route setters have got the spread about right.
Yeah, nice clean cut off in many ways. I wonder if that will change now with a few tops coming towards the end of the round.
Well, that'll be Sana Agora with 1 top, 2 zones. As it stands, won't be enough for a place in the final. As I say, you do need 2 tops. But she will have a chance on number 4. So we've actually got a bit of a wait until the next climbers come out. Minute and a half or so. And there you can see the scores as they stand right now. Some climbers not finished their rotation. But I recommend going to the fridge, getting the cold beverage of your choice out. If you're somewhere a little cooler than here in Arco, put the kettle on. And as I say, you got about a minute or so, just over, before the next climbers come out. That's how they stand in the male juniors. You can see there, Shooter Tanaka 3 tops, but it's not enough. Max Milne in right now, but a zone, or even better, a top, would really make things secure. There we go. Hope you made it to the fridge and or kettle back in time. Orion Burton and Pierre Lecef on number 3, and Sarah Kopat and Harold Peters on number 4. So we're right closed into the middle here. Pierre, after a big performance in the qualifiers, I have to say, not really followed it up here. Needs a top of number 3 for sure, needs it pretty quickly. I actually think he's not going to make it into the final, almost regardless, just because of number of attempts. Right now he's got 1 top, but it took him 3 attempts. Max Milne, who's currently in 6th place, has got 3 tops in 4 attempts, so he's not going to make it in just on attempts alone, I'm afraid.
Quick top for Orion Burton. That's the first chance we've had a look at that boulder from that angle. A collection of 3 holds all stacked together, ending up in a little left-hand crimp. Quite an interesting bit of route setting there. Orion Burton absolutely flew through that one, and she'll be back with a long rest. This is the final climber we're going to see on men's number 3 then. With Pierre, can he find something in this round? He's really struggled so far. I feel the pressure of coming out last has really potentially got to him a little bit here.
Sarah Kopat down on the mats, trying to figure out another way, gather a little more energy. No more climbing for these athletes today. Remember, their finals are not later on today. They are, I believe, both are tomorrow. Let me just confirm that, actually, before I say it too confidently. Yes, they are both tomorrow.
Sarah Kopat, we're just seeing here, she's currently having a really tough round, sitting in 20th position, even though she was coming out 3rd from last. They qualified in 3rd after the end of the qualifying round. As we're seeing from Pierre Lecef as well, coming out later, not necessarily a pure show of who's doing what in the junior or the Youth B categories.
Well, complete change of style from the DJ. It's mainly been kind of 90s, early noughties rock. We've had Blink 182, Papa Roach. Suddenly the piano music kicks in.
Yeah, it's not what you call a mix, I don't think.
No, it's iTunes Shuffle, I think.
Just get one track, throw that in the bin and get the next one out. Not that they play vinyls anymore, and these events especially. A lot of the climbers on the wall wouldn't even know what a vinyl is, to be honest, but there we are.
Let's go, Sarah. There's still time to reach. Let's go, let's go. Come on, Sarah.
So Sarah really not happy with that left crimp, trying to open-handed it. Music's completely gone off now. The DJ's been fired. Hopefully they'll find another one. But yeah, never really finding the body position on that men's number 3.
Yeah, it's not been the follow-up to his excellent qualifying day that Paul Lasseff wanted. Would be a polite way of putting it. Yeah, Wim Verhoeven got some pace across the mats there. Put the afterburners on.
Yeah, the technical get that was Apple yet earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, should be playing right wing for Belgium. Some real pace, getting behind the fullback. Got some gas. Here's Max Milne.
Max Milne then already into the finals in his 6th position.
Yeah, he could. It would be nice, obviously, for Max and for his ranking, and in the unlikely event if it comes down to countback, if he could find a top here. Because if he could find one reasonably quickly, I'm talking 5 attempts or so, he'd actually go into the final in first place. It's quite a big if, though, when only 3 climbers have topped the boulder.
Yeah, all 3 of them Japanese as well, so good for Max to find a top as well. But it'd just be nice to be sort of playing in the head games of the Japanese team a little bit, just to be up there with them. You can see the young GB team fans there.
At what time do you take the future out of your Instagram handle? At what point have you arrived?
Well, that's a very good question. When do you become? Depends where you want to go in life, really, doesn't it? You know, just you could always be looking for the future.
I think our chances of being the future of climbing, sadly, are long past.
Yeah, luckily it says Max, the future. Milne doesn't necessarily say climbing.
So here goes Max. Max looking pretty hopeful here if he can latch this crimp. Could finish with a perfect round of 4 tops. Let's just wait for the attempts to be confirmed. I'm almost certain he's done enough. Put himself into first. He has. First place for Max Milne, 4 tops, requiring only 6 attempts. He was top of his group in qualifying and has delivered a storming performance here.
Look at that smile on his face as he walks off. Couldn't have gone any better for Max Milne.
Sano Agora. She's currently down in 12th place. It's so tight over on the women's side. 2 tops and 3 zones, by the way. We'll see you in. And if she can find a top here, that is what she'd have.
Just goes to that right hander, wants to make sure it's 100%. Just a slight right hand sloping sideball there, but she's just trying to find a left toe hook to get the body position. There she does, gets it in control.
So let's see. I just want to double check how many attempts that required.
Just whilst you're just double checking that, I've just been told that there's going to be a technical incident here. So Harold Peters from Belgium is going to come out on this next rotation. He's going to have 2 minutes to climb the second boulder again, I believe.
Okay.
So I haven't been told exactly what the technical incident is. I said I wasn't allowed to know. It's just a technical incident, and so Harold will come again on the second boulder. He got it topped in 3 attempts, so obviously they weren't happy with that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but you can see it. That's the top 6 as they stand.
Yeah, Sana Agora currently will be a bit nervous, because if Orion Burton can find a top, then Orion will take her place in the final, and will not only take her place in the final, she will become the only climber with 3 tops on the women's side. And she's, I have to say, stormed through boulders 2 and 3 after getting nothing out of number 1. And over on the men's side, 3 climbers with 4 tops. Nicely set, it feels like, the level for the men. And the women's has looked better as the round's gone on. There's quite a big discrepancy between the top of the field and the lower half, and it's felt like it's come together in the end. We do this every time, Mike. We get nervous about, oh, should we, shouldn't we? Is it too hard? Is it? And then generally by the end you think, oh, the route setter's got it right again.
Yeah, so many times the early climbers come out, and sometimes there's loads of tops, sometimes it just looks like the boulders are way off. But yeah, a superb job from the route setters again. Hard qualifications in the women's. That's say, is that Harold Peters? He hasn't come out on that rotation, so the information we've got currently slightly wobbly. Let's see what happens. He might come out with the final 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
just to keep in time with the timing system.
I guess that would be the logical way to do it, wouldn't it? Because then no one needs to go and tell him his time's up. He'll hear the beeps.
Yeah.
I can't help but be even more interested to know what the technical incident is now I know we can't be told. I mean, that's a guaranteed way to get my ears to prick up.
I imagine it's probably a false start or something like that the judge didn't pick up on at the time, but felt like it may have been the case. But they didn't run in and call him off, so yeah, it's a tricky one for Harold. He's already in 12th, so he did only have that one top to his name. But let's have a look at Orion Burton as we will have a think about that technical incident in a minute. Just looking to storm this round here, using the volumes all the way on the left from the men's boulder. Would have been an interesting one as well.
Pull herself. It is just, it's just not gone right for him all day.
Super fierce undercutting of this volume. It'd be good if we could see that from the right hand side of the wall, just to see what he's up against on the underside of that volume. Big wrestle.
Orion Burton with work to do after not getting anything out of number 1. Not many people got anything out of number 1, but it just it did get topped, and she has a little bit of work to do. She's got the zone on number 4. In fact, her score's just flashed up with comic timing, and she's actually done enough for 6th place. But a top would move her up into 1st. Doesn't look entirely happy with something in the left arm there. So I assume Harold Peters has come back out by now. Orion Burton cannot quite find a way this time.
She does seem to be a real fighter today. We saw that impressive top of hers on female number 2, the ride at the buzzer, so maybe she can find something here.
Not much time for these climbers left now. Here goes Orion. Oh, holds it this time, gets the feet in place. This is for first place in the semi-final rankings from Orion Burton. Right hand's there. Still not done yet though. You just got to get yourself solid before you commit the left hand. There it is. 3 tops for her. She won the lead Youth World Championship. She will go into the Boulder final in first place.
Certainly had to work for it though, right up to the last few seconds of that 4-minute rotation.
It's I tell you what though, it's a psychological advantage. It's one thing to go in because you required a few less attempts, but when you are the only climber to have top 3 boulders, it does give you a psychological advantage. And that will be time up for Harold. Yes, we just saw him over on the left of the screen. Not sure what the technical incident was. Actually, it wouldn't have moved him up the order. So that's how they finish. Orion Burton, Ryu Nakagawa, Hana Koike, Angie Scarth-Johnson, Campbell Sarinopoulos, and Alessia Maboni for Italy set that score very early on and has held on all the way through the semi-final to book her place in the final. Is the lower half of this female Youth B semi-final. Thoroughly entertaining, and even more so once the thermostat had just been turned down ever so slightly from the start of our broadcast. Much more civilized temperature now in Arco. And there you can see it over on the men's side. Max Mild, 4 tops requiring only 6 attempts. A dominant performance, got the job done on number 4. He'll be joined in the final by Sota Amagasa, Katsura Konishi, Leo Favo, Sam Wingard, and Nathan Marten of France. Shooter Tanaka just misses out, having won the lead World Championship earlier this week. Noah Down, Nikolai Uznik, Zach Richardson, Julien Clemens at times showed promise but couldn't quite find a way in. Pierre Lasserre, a day to forget for him after a really good qualifying round yesterday. So that is all from Mike and I for now. However, we have got 3 speed finals coming up for you this evening. 6 o'clock Arco time. We've got Junior Women immediately following that, Youth A Women, and immediately following that, Youth A Men. I'll speak to you shortly.